Okay, so part two for today, we're going to be talking about game development. You got a book report coming up in a week, and you got to read the book, and then you need to give a 5 minute presentation next week on it. So in order to really um, be able to do your book report right, you're going to need to talk about. You have to kind of understand the concepts of game design. Like this semester, I did things a little bit different than normally. Normally, I talk about game design first, then I get into doing it. But you guys have just been really killing it on the implementation side of things, on the Unreal Engine side of things. You guys have been doing a fantastic job, like probably the best I've ever seen, honestly. And so I've just been like going hard on like, coding, games and all that kind of stuff. So now we're coming back to like what we normally talk about in week one of this class, which is game design principles. Okay. So please be active on Discord, answering questions. Uh, give give examples of games you've played and things like that. So basically, when you make a game, especially when you're pitching a game, it's important to have something that's called an elevator pitch. Okay, and an elevator pitch takes its name from the notion that like you find yourself in an elevator with the CEO of your company, Blizzard Activision or something like that. You're there with Bobby, whatever his name is, and for better or worse, and you've got the duration of the elevator ride to convince him to fund your game. And so you've got this new idea, and it's StarCraft meets Twitter, So it's a social network MMO RTS game, and you got like the span of like a minute to sell them on the idea. Okay, so you need one of those elevator pitches. Yeah, it's one of the things that you kind of have to, even though you don't actually ride in an elevator usually with people. Um, the ability to concisely state what kind of game you want to make is a really important one. Because what happens usually when gamers who haven't worked in the industry try to sell people on their game is they're like, okay, so let me tell you about my game. It's gonna take place on a world that's about 500 miles square, and it's got fantasy. And oh, the background of the fantasy is there was a Lich King that lived like 10,000 years ago, but it's not the Lich King from World of Warcraft. It's just it's a different Lich King. His name was Fistantilus the Vile, and they just start going off on all these tangents. And the CEO's like, I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what your game is. Is what genre is it? What is it multi? Like I don't know anything about your game. Like I don't care about the backstory and the love life of a Lich King that lived 10,000 years ago in this game that doesn't even exist. Right? Tell me what I need to know to understand your game, and that needs to be able to fit into a fairly small package. Okay, that's how your kids tell stories. Like, get to the point. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. And then your 5 minutes are up, and they kick you out. Okay. So, basically, you need to understand the core elements of game design, so that when you design your game, you can think about them deliberately, and also so you can craft your elevator pitches, so that people hear, like, the important things. Is this a single player game? Is it a multiplayer game? Like that's a big. Is it an MMO? Like if it's multiplayer, is it for 1,000 people or three? That's a very different game. And very different cost. Like the budget of a game that can support thousands of people simultaneously in the same world is very different from a single player game, right? Ubisoft, all single player games are multiplayer games because they're terrible, but and so they shut down your single player game. You've had long enough to beat Assassin's Creed. You don't need it. You don't need those achievements. You're done. You're done. Move on. Buy the new one. So it drives me crazy. Okay, so here we go. What's happening in 50? We are talking about elements of game design. I just did some Q&A for the first part. Okay, um, so there's some core things that every game needs to talk about. And today we're going to be talking, and there's lots of them, but we're going to talk about 5 of them today. Okay. So, click. PowerPoint. There we go. Is PowerPoint frozen? Weird. PowerPoint is lagging like crazy. Okay. Good job, Microsoft. Okay. So what does it mean for something to be a game? So on Discord, you guys tell me. Do you think casino? Do you think Indian gaming, right? Like you go up to Chuck Chansey and they have a casino there when it's not being taken over by mercenaries. True story. And they have Indian gaming, right? They have electronic slot machines and poker and video poker and things like that. Is that a game? You put your money in and you click on which cards you want to keep, and then it deals you new cards, and you win or lose. You get money or not. Is that a game? What do you think? Slots, meh. Video poker, yes. Yeah, like what about roulette? Is roulette a game? You put your money down and they spin a spinny wheel, and they're like, you bet 35 and they got 36, you lose. Like, is that a game? Rigged poker? I don't know. Is track and field a game? Yeah. You go out to the track and they fire a gun and everyone runs at the same time. Is that a game? Maybe. Perchance it's a game. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, soccer is a game, right? Soccer is basically track and field with a ball, right? And a goal. I don't know. Points. I mean, you get points for winning, right? If you do track, like you get points if you win, right? Skiing, is skiing a game, right? I was on the UCSD ski team, so you'd have a couple hundred people up at Mammoth lined up, and every minute go, you ski down, and they time you, and the top 3 men and the top 3 women earn points, and basically nobody else does. It was like top 7, but whatever it was, like I never came close to ever earning a single point for my team. So, is that a game? I don't know. It's a competition, but is it a game? Shoot an arrow straight up. Is that a game? Hunger Games. It's pretty funny. I mean, honestly, like, what does it take? Why is like soccer game but skiing's not? It's competitive. There's a goal. You know what? Is it's you're not directly fighting each other in skiing. Although I have done skier cross, which is PvP skiing. You have multiple people skiing down at the same time, and you can like run into each other and wipe out and stuff like that. It's incredibly dangerous. Is that more of a game than like, you know, slalom or something like that? An objective? Get down to the mountain first? Yeah. What about like idlers? Have you guys seen these things? Like they're like idle click games, like idle champions of Forgotten Realms. So this is a free-to-play game, as it should be, because it's a game that plays itself. Free DLC, really? Really? So it's a game that plays itself. How is that a thing that people spend money on? That's my question. Rules, an objective, competition. Yeah, clickers, like games where you just like click as fast as you can. Idlers, I don't know. Like I personally am sort of like, I don't really think of them as games, honestly. Like I honestly kind of, I don't think that slot machines are games. I don't think that roulette is a game. I don't think that anything that's just sort of like boring like that is a game. In part because I don't find them fun. Right? Like, to me, a game has to have a sense of fun to it, and like giving casinos my money isn't fun. So, you know. What about case opening in games? Yeah, clicking fast is a skill. You're a clicker in WoW. So you actually click on the hotkey. That's horrifying. But I mean, if you're good at it, I guess you're good at it. Yeah, I had like all my bars of hotkeys, and stuff like that set up. But I'm talking about like an actual clicker, right? Where like it's one of these games where you just sit there and you just click and you get a point every time you click, and so you just click more and you get more points. You click, and then you earn enough points to buy something that when you click on it, you get 10 points a click, and you click on that one. And then when you earn enough money, you buy one that gives you 100 points a click, and you click on that one, and you just do that until you die. I guess I don't know. Like I like those sorts of things. Like I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't consider them games. Yeah, there you go. We're all going to be living in Wall-E soon. Yeah, that's why I try to get out of the house and exercise. Got to stay on that grind. Exactly. So, I like Sid Meier's. Oh, man, this thing is lagging. Why are you lagging? Why are you lagging? I like Sid Meier's philosophy when it comes to Type Racer. Yeah, but that's more like you're like just practicing your typing skills. It's like a gamified typing game. So I like Sid Meier's. You're more than welcome to disagree with me. There's clearly a market for idle games and clicker games and casino games that like I don't get. I don't make them. I'm not interested in them. I'm not interested in playing them or making them. But like they're it's out there. And I feel like anybody could probably make a clicker game, right? Because you just come up with art and you click on it and then yeah. That's about it. Typing of the Dead. Yeah, also, it's a game that's, designed to teach you typing. So, Sid Meier's philosophy is a game is a series of interesting choices, and I really like that. That really resonated with me when I heard that, because that's how I design games. I want somebody to sit there and just have steam coming out of their ears when they're trying to make a decision. Like do I take, the thing that gives me a 9% greater chance to block, or do I take the thing that increases my area of effect by 25%? Because like how it's pretty big already, but like if it's 25% bigger, that's like pretty big, and then like it'll do more damage too, and then but like if I have a 9% higher block rate, then not only do I take 9% less damage, but all my things that I have that trigger on blocking, those trigger more often. And you want people to just sit there and be like, that's what I want. I don't want analysis paralysis where there's like 9 million options, but I want people to sit there and go like, what do I want? What do I want? And then when they pick something, it's interesting. Like it actually gives them a nice boost in power, right? A lot of games try to balance games by making everything like minimal. Like in, I played a Conan MMORPG, and like you would pick up armor, and the armor would give you minus 0.3% damage taken. Or I could wear armor that increased my damage by 0.3%. So instead of 100 damage, I would do 100.3 damage. Why bother? Exactly. It's completely pointless. And like, as the game went on, the percentages scaled up, right? But here's the thing. Percentages don't need to scale up. They scale up with your damage, right? Like, if you're doing 100 damage, or you're doing 1 damage, a 5% boost in damage is, like, you don't need to scale the percentages. Like, it just drove me insane. Because it just made so many of the choices in the game, like, completely pointless. Like, who cares? Like, nothing, like, literally nothing matters. None of the choices matter, because they're all terrible. And that's just how they balance the game. Just every choice is bad. Nothing changes. Like, we have a power level we want you to be at, and you can go above or below that by a percentage point. Okay, who cares? Why am I even playing the game? Yeah, so like in Pokemon, right, you've got your 4 starter Pokemon, right? You've got your water, fire, and plant Pokemon, and then if you reject all 3 of them, you get a lightning Pokemon. And that matters. That's a meaningful choice, right? Like, because, fire beats, plant beats water beats fire. And, if you pick one, your rival picks the one that beats you, right? And so it's an interesting choice, right? And if you walk away from it, you get Pikachu, right? That's an interesting choice. When you're playing a first person shooter, like I've been playing Tiny. I just finally beat Tiny Tina's Wonderlands a couple nights ago. You have to really sit there and think about some of those things. Like, am I going to be using a sniper rifle? Am I going to be using pistols? Use your talents to kind of tie in with your gear. So your gear choices are kind of based on what you're spec'd into, and what you're spec'd into kind of depends on your gear. And you can respec, but you can't fully respec until you beat the game. At which point, who cares? So like if you make a bad decision as to like which pair of classes you take, you can't change that until the end game, and then you can only change your second class. You can't change your first one. And so like I really sat there and agonized over like which class I was going to play as. So I played a Berserker, a Frost Barbarian, right? And then I was like, I'm going to make myself tanky. All right. So I was boosting my health and everything like that. And then I was looking at, when I got my second class unlocked, I was looking at all the different possibilities. I can get a dragon, I can get a talking mushroom. And there was this one that's for like wizards, it looked like. And I was like going to pass on it. But it had a action skill that said sacrifice half of your life to do like double that or triple that or quadruple that in damage. And I was like, oh ho ho. Oh ho ho. Because my character had an ability from the Berserker side that sacrificed my shields to add 1.5 times that to my life. So my life bar was huge. I'd maxed out Constitution, so I had like twice the hit points almost, and shield that I should have, and then my doubled shield got transferred into even more health. And so like I have a lot of health. And then the ability to sacrifice my life to explode and kill everything around me, I was like, all right, I'm in. And so like none of the rest of the class was on like minions and like spells. I didn't use any of it. All I did with my Graveborn side of things was to just like take things like increase my health. When I kill things, get cooldown on my action skill. And so basically what I can do is I can just walk into a group of enemies, hit a button, I detonate, they all die, and because they die, it refreshes my action skill, and I can do it again. And you'd be like, oh, but you lost half your life. But no, it's dark element, and so you heal damage based on your dark element. So I actually do it, I sacrifice half my life, and I get 4 times my life back in life. And then I can just do it again. And I was like, oh, this is a really cool combo. And it just worked out beautifully. Like, my character is nearly impossible to kill, and I can just walk around like as a living atomic weapon, just blowing up things around me, and it's great. So that's a interesting choice. That's how I like doing game design. And PowerPoint is just not. I'm clicking and it's okay. It's just super laggy. It's so weird. Okay, so play and work are not opposites. You can play at work. Take my career, for example. I'm a computer science professor, but I also get to teach game development. But like most people at work kind of hate their work. 87% of people don't really like their work. They're not engaged at work. That's depressing. Like, if you think about it, like, like I get it. Like, a lot of people, like, just, you need to get paid, you know what I mean? But like, if you're going to go through 5 out of 7 days of the week doing something you kind of hate, like, that's terrible, like, it's not a fun way of going through life, So, I mean, maybe grocery stores aren't your passion or whatever, but like I've known people that work at grocery stores that actually like working there. Like, they got a good group of people they get to hang out with at night when they're stocking the store. They're playing like Led Zeppelin and like just having a good time, and enjoying it. Like, I'm not ripping on working at a grocery store by any means, but I'm saying as an example, like, a lot of people just don't like their job. You got to get that second monitor somehow. Yeah. Bartender, you play sales bingo, sell a filet, sell a mojito, crush it, nice. Very cool. Makes the shift more fun. Yeah. And so that's gamification. And so the that's kind of what I'm getting to, is that a lot of businesses have started doing what's called gamification. And gamification means, adding elements of play to work. So yeah, Like, I don't know if you work at like a steakhouse or something, but like, maybe your boss is like, hey, you sell a prime rib, you get a bonus or something, right? And then you're like, all right, you're on, and then you like try to like, hey, you look like a prime rib person, or something, and it becomes like a fun game. And even though it's still work, you're still working. Like the added element of play to it makes it a lot more fun and a lot more engaging, and you don't hate your life and things like that. So it's really nice. Affleck, which is a insurance company, they have like this game that like every time my cousin who has Affleck like goes to the gym, she like logs in. She logs her thing at the gym in her time, and she earns points for like going to the gym. You're like, why would a life insurance company care that she's healthy? Anyone have any ideas why a life insurance company would want to try to incentivize her not dying? The company with the duck. That's right. Yeah. Let's go and find an Affleck. Thought it was a car company. Yeah. Yeah, they don't get up. Yeah, exactly. If you don't die, they get money. But you benefit also. Why? You're not dead. That's cool. You know what I mean? Like it's like okay, it's kind of mercenary, but at the same time, it's like cool. Like so my cousin goes and she hits the gym, stays on that grind and runs and logs it all, and then she gets like free stuff from Affleck. And so I show up at her house. She's like, hey, you want an Affleck stuffed animal for your daughter? I'm like, sure. Why not? And so it's like it's like I think it's kind of cool. There's a oh my gosh, this thing's so slow. What's going on? There you go. There's a Honda Fit, and when you drive it fuel efficiently, like it grows a little plant. A little plant grows when you're driving your car in a fuel efficient manner. Because like if you slam the gas and brake really hard, like you're not fuel efficient, right? And so like, but if you drive in a fuel efficient manner, like this little plant like grows. But if you ever slam it, like the plant dies. And so like it encourages you to So it encourages you to like, not not waste gas. And so like sure, you can floor it if you want, but then your plant dies, and you're sad now. So don't drive that way. It's very clever. It's just this little thing. It's like right there next to your speedometer. You can kind of see how well you've been doing. It's kind of cool. Let's see if I can find a photograph of it. Yeah, it's like killing your Tomodachi or something. So there is a book called A Theory of Fun. I got it right here. It's a cool book. I recommend picking it up. You can probably find a digital copy of it. And it's like half of it is a comic. Yeah. It's tic-tac-toe, one of the greatest games of all time, right? If we fail to understand why games matter and how fun matters, all of our games are destined to become tic-tac-toe. To which I say, no wait. Should put away the things. Yeah. So he's attacking a quote that says, "When I became an adult, I put away the things of childhood and stepped into a world where the young are seen and not heard." To which I say no, because I'd hate to pass up that look of joy and wonder in my child's eyes. So this book here is really nice. It's like I said, it's an easy read. It's got a lot of pictures on it. My daughter asks me sometimes, like, "Daddy, why is this game fun?" And I'm like, "Read Ralph Costner." She's like, "Just tell me." Tell me the answer. So his approach is that things are fun that benefit us evolutionary. He's like an evolutionary psychologist. I don't know if he is one, but that's kind of his his approach to it. So he's like things that would have been like think about primitive man, out in the trees or whatever, and what kinds of things that you could do there would help you survive, right? Like going out into the forest and like finding, berry bushes, hunting, hide and seek. Oh wait, did I say hide and seek? Yeah, like hiding, ambush hunting, right? Be able to spot things in ambush. Overcooked. Yeah, Overcooked is a great game. It can cause tension within a family though. Give me the cheese. Give me the cheese. I'm cooking the hamburger. Give me the cheese. Uh, that's funny. Yeah, it's like my daughter has been playing a game called House Flipper, and she's like cleans up a house and builds a house. She can demo walls and like build extensions and things like that. I'm like, hey, if you enjoy cleaning house in a video game, let me show you a high res version of the exact same game right over there. There was a stain on my closet door back there where she had like dumped some who knows kid substance on it, and I'm like, hey, here's a rag, it's wet, take it over to that door right there, and you can play House Flipper all day long in real life, and it's got better graphics. And she's like looking at me like, okay, fine. And she like goes over, she like cleans it. I'm like, was that fun? She's like, no, not really. I'm like, why is it fun in a video game? Because that's what you do. Like, you go in the game, you like clean up all these like messes and like pick up litter, pick up your trash, all the things that kids hate doing in real life. They love doing in a video game, and it's weird, right? So, 4K version, yeah, she's gonna take a hammer and just like demo the entire thing. Daddy, you've got an extension. Like, it's an open floor plan. So, yeah, but it's very interesting. Like, why is it fun in a video game and not in real life? It's why is planting plants in Valheim? Like, I'll sit there and plant turnips all day long in Valheim, but like gardening, I'm like, okay, like I tolerate it. Like I got some berry bushes in real life, but like like the notion of going out there and hoeing the field and like planting seeds and all that stuff, like it's far more fun in a video game. I don't know, maybe it's the air conditioning, but this is air conditioned. I don't know. New floor unlocked, sunroof, yeah. It's like, why do we play outside in a game but not in real life? Yeah. I mean, it's because it's a video game? Like, I don't know. Like, it's very interesting to me. So Raf's take on it is that how does that apply to FromSoft games? I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily agree with Raf Koster, but basically his take is that, like, a first-person shooter, especially a game like Sniper, like one of the Sniper series, that's essentially hunting, right? Like, you hide in the trees and shoot a deer in real life, and that's basically what you're doing in a video game. And he's like, that's why we find it fun. Because if you look at, like, kittens, have you ever played with a kitten, right? Do you know, like, what you do when you play with a kitten? What are you teaching the kittens when you play with them? How to hunt, yeah. How to hunt you. If you're using your hand, they'll pounce on it, right? And so, like, you move your hand around, the kitten's like, oh, and then, like, jumps on it, right? And so, yeah, so play is a way of developing the brains of young animals. And so what's interesting about humans is that, we play our whole lives, or we should, because when humans stop playing, they stagnate mentally, right? Once humans lose that sense of fun, once they lose that sense of, like, play, like, they become very boring people, honestly. Like, sorry, I said it. Like, if you're somebody who doesn't play any board games or video games or, card games or anything, like, kind of a boring person, honestly. So, or just go out and playing tag with your kids and things like that. Like, play is, like, really an important part of the human like, experience. And you can go through life without playing, but you're going to be, pretty weird kid if you don't play, and you're going to grow up to be kind of a weird adult. And I'm out of focus again. 80% of people. But yeah, like play in mammals is designed to develop your brain, and people that humans that don't play, I think, don't ever fully become human, honestly. So yeah, hiding and seeking, jacks, hand dexterity, Farmville, like you're growing, food and stuff like that. So, like I said, I don't necessarily agree with it. It's probably worth a read. So we can get it to focus again. It's probably worth a read. Like it does make you think about what it means for something to be fun, and that's because it's a hard question, And I was asking, I'm like, Ada, why was it so much more fun, to pick up litter in real life or in the video game than in real life? It's like, I don't know. It's an interesting question. Yeah, tag's a lot of fun. Okay. So we got like a few minutes left. Actually, we have quite a few minutes left. So when you're thinking about your elevator pitch, and eventually you're going to have to write an elevator pitch. In fact, that's your assignment for today. Is you don't have to do anything in Unreal Engine. You have to write an elevator pitch for your project that's going to be due at the end of the semester. Okay, and you can always change it later on, so don't stress too much about it. But there's some questions you have to ask, because if you're Bobby Kendall, what's the guy's name? Maybe if you plant a tropical gardening game, you don't risk killing $1,000 worth of plants. That's fair. That's fair. But there's some things you can do, like Gran Turismo. Like I'm not probably ever going to buy a McLaren, even if I had that kind of money. There are better things that I want to spend my money on, like having good graphics cards, than on a McLaren. So let me pick who's the CEO of, I don't know, EA or something like that. Jake Schatz. Okay, so oh no, he's Chief Legal Officer. Okay. Andrew Wilson. There you go. Andrew Wilson, age 48. He is CEO of Electronic Arts. Okay, so let's say you have to make a elevator pitch to... Actually, I like Schatz's name better. I don't know. I just like saying Schatz for some reason. So let's say you have to make an elevator pitch to Schatz. He's going to want to know within, like, a couple minutes, what kind of game is it? What's the genre? And so big game genres are things like first-person shooter, real-time strategy, driving game, adventure game, things like that. Your games are just Persona 5 times... Your game is Persona 5 times Pokken Tournament times Smash Brothers times Pokemon times Breath of the Wild. Yeah, and a lot of times an elevator pitch is that. You say it's this game meets this game. Because then you don't really have to explain all the ins and outs of it. Instead, all you have to do is, reference... this thing is just refusing to focus. It's so irritating to me. You just reference existing games, and then they'll kind of have an idea of it. So yeah, start off with genre. That's the first thing we want to hear. Is it a strategy game? And sometimes you can be like, all right, it's a strategy game, but it switches into first person shooter mode or something like that, right? So like it's a strategy game, it's like Risk, but like when you take a province, like it switches into first person shooter mode. Like that's fine too. That actually sounds kind of like a fun game. I don't know. So it's open world 3-phase battle game. Yeah, you don't want to throw too much into it, though. Okay. Friends and I were just talking about an open-world Pokemon game. Yeah, I think it would be kind of fun, actually, honestly. Like, you go around in, like, a Skyrim kind of world, and there's, like, Charmanders flying around instead of dragons, and could be really neat, honestly. So, so the first thing is, why should people want to play your game? Right? That's not immediately obvious. There are a lot of games released on Steam every day, right? So like if we check on Steam here, if we go into new arrivals, let's go to the store page, and we go into new releases. Okay, that's just a queue. Let's see here. Stats featured. Browse by genre. New releases. There we go. Okay, so new DLCs, new top sellers, new release. Okay, here we go. So SCP Secret Files, I Am Sequoia, Deadwater Saloon, Isanzo, World War One, EU4, Lions of the North, which I'm gonna need to. Psychological horror, hentai. Wall. Uh. What? I think an intern might. This doesn't look like hentai to me. I'm sorry. Like, it is art, but psychological horror. Pretty sure it's not. Okay, yeah. Where are the tags on here? Anyway, yeah, there it is. Popular user-defined text. Oh, they're user-defined. That's funny. Okay. Yeah, Vinland. Yeah. Okay. So, can it be a small part of a story you want to gamify, like Lord of the Rings' escape room? Yeah, yeah, that's perfectly valid too. So, yeah, you can make that for your final project, sure. Yeah. Anyhow, so the point is like that came out today. Like, so all these things came out today, like today. You know, let's go to Tim Tim. Came out a week ago. All right. It's like this is all stuff that came out in like the last week. You know, so there is stuff coming out all the time on Steam, and the question is, why should I play Jack Move over, you know, the classic hentai game Europa Universalis 4, right? Like, what is it about this game that makes me want to click here and spend $18 on a game, right? I mean, it looks like it's got like pretty bad graphics. I mean, they're probably intentionally bad, but like kind of bad. Old school inventory system, like a unique blend of gritty cyberpunk storytelling, turn-based battles, and beautiful modern pixel art, which is another way of saying they don't have an art budget. Take on the role of Noah, a vigilante hacker who's thrust into a world of murder, kidnapping, and dark research after her father goes missing. It's like, you know, that, like, I don't know why I buy this, right? Maybe I look at the reviews. It shows when you've spoken to an NPC 10 out of 10. It's a short, charming game. Recommend getting it on sale. An 8-hour game for $18. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of games that come out every day. So why should somebody play yours? You need to really think about that, right? What makes your game special? You know, how do you win? Does it have positive feedback or negative feedback? Like, somebody was just talking about the Dark Souls kinds of games, right? You know, it's like that game has a lot of like negative feedback, right? You die, and then you know, it punishes you for dying. Like Sekiro is especially bad. Like I actually quit playing Sekiro because of too much negative feedback in the game. Every time you die, it turns off one of the NPCs in the world. And so if that NPC was a quest giver or somebody that you went to talk to cash in a quest, you can't turn it in now because you died and you suck, and now you can't turn in your quest. And there are items that like remove that, and that's fine. But like, there's only a limited number of those items, and so like I don't want to use them because there's only so many in the game. And so like I just would walk around with like multiple quests ready to cash in that I can't cash in because they're all coughing up blood because I died because I suck. You know, it's like dying alone is bad enough, and then it just punishes you on top of that for dying more. And it just turned me off on the game. Also, the keyboard mouse support was terrible. Okay. So is it simulationist or is it abstract? That's actually a big question. Like Europa Universalis tries to like simulate Europe, and a game like Tic-Tac-Toe is very abstract. Like you're not conquering a map of America or whatever. It's just you know, X's and O's on a board. If you're going to be multiplayer, there's all sorts of other questions you have to ask. We can skip those. Oregon Trail. Yeah, Oregon. Yeah. Oregon Trail was a great game. It had a lot of negative feedback, but you know, the the thing is, you could actually pick your difficulty, right? So you can choose to go like easy, medium, or hard. The banker was the easy mode, and then or it's the other way around. But you start with extra money to begin with, right? But if you get to the end, if you start with one of the people that has less money, then you get a multiplier in your score. So essentially it was a difficulty, choice, but it was kind of dressed up in role playing flavor. We used to play in class. Everyone dies almost always, yeah. But at the same time, it's not super negative, right? So like when you die in Oregon Trail, like you don't get like super like like in Dark Souls or something like that. And so there's probably something to that. There's something to that game design. So every game has a difficulty curve, and life lessons are to die. So the difficulty curve is like how quickly you can get good at a game, and you want a game to be easy enough that people can get into it and play and have a good time. But at the same time, you need to challenge them, and you need to have them fail every once in a while. And so you need to like kind of ramp up the difficulty like smoothly. Yeah, I'm in focus again. Cool. And if you have the difficulty curve too flat, you get a game like that one Final Fantasy where it had like lightning and snow and things like that. It was like FF14 or something like that. And that game, the tutorial for that game was like 30 hours long, and you're just basically on a corridor, walking down a corridor for 30 hours, and there's cutscenes, and you don't even get to the open world until about 30 hours in. And I quit the game before I got to the open world because it was so damn boring. League of Legends is a learning curve. Everyone just expects you to know how to play well, and they'll yell at you if you're not lead immediately. Yeah, that's true. It's true. Yeah, and that's a problem. Something we could talk about for multiplayer games. Like handling people of different skill levels is a really big problem. It's really hard to actually make a game that supports people with different skill levels. Maybe we can talk about that some other time. So like Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, the first one, it introduces you to new concepts gradually. Like when you start Mario Brothers, there's just one Goomba walking towards you, and you walk towards it, and if you run into it, you die. That Goomba has killed more Marios than like any other creature in any Mario game. And it's just a Goomba, it's just walking at you. And people just run into it and die. They run into it again, and they die. And they run into it again, game over. Because you only have 3 lives. And then you try again, you jump, and you die. And then it teaches you how to jump and how long to jump for and things like that. And then then you come to a little column, and you have to like jump over the column, and then there's a taller column. And if you just tap jump, you can't jump over. So you learn that you have to hold down jump, and you can jump over it. And then there's a taller one. That one you have to run and jump over. And so the game, without having any tutorial, without having any text, there's nothing, no hand-holding whatsoever. The level itself was designed to show you all the different capabilities of Mario, how the mushrooms work, how the monsters work. There's Koopas within the thing, so if you jump on them and hit it, the shell bounces back and forth and kills you. Mario 1-1 is like a masterclass in like how to do difficulty curve. So if you ever really want to like study like level design and things like that, because that's an entire career. You can make your career doing level design. I had friends doing that for Midway. Level 1-1. Right? So when you start off, there's just that Goomba, and then what happens is that like you'll jump over him and oftentimes hit that question block, and a coin comes out. You're like, oh, if I hit that with my head, a coin comes out. It makes perfect sense. You should hit things with your head. And then there's pipes of increasing size, right? And then eventually you get to a point where there's a Koopa, and you hit the Koopa and it bounces back and it kills you, right? And there's a hole, and you have to like jump over the hole, and you learn that if you fall in the hole, you die. And so like everything in this level is designed to teach you the capabilities of the character without like hitting you in the face with the fact you're doing a tutorial. And that's something that really irks me about a lot of games these days. It's like, you're in the tutorial, and everything's going to be like very scripted and handholdy, and you don't have any choice in the matter. Mario Brothers, it just kills you. Like, you walk to the right, you touch it, you're dead. Like, it just like, you're dead. Like, it pulls zero punches, right? You drop down into here, they touch you, you die. You jump on the Koopa, you kick it, it bounces, it kills you, right? And so these things will drop out of the heavens and kill you. You fall into the pit, you die. Like, it did not hold your hand, and it was fun, and people really liked this level. And then it gets you excited, and then as you go into level 1, 2, and so on and so forth, like, it introduces more and more concepts. And that's really important. It's important for your difficulty curve to ramp up in such a way that, like, it's fun for people. Hades is another great game. Has anyone here played Hades before? You'll learn this is a secret level, yeah. So Hades is not the kind of... Yeah, this guy. Hades is not my cup of tea as far as like games go. It's really not. But I played it, and it's really good. So it's by Supergiant Games, who did Bastion and some other games. And it does two things really well. First of all, the action, the gameplay loop is really fantastic. And as you get better as a player, your character gets better in the game. And it just feels really good, because you start off, you're terrible. But every time you play the game, you get a little bit further and a little bit further and a little bit further. It's a rogue-like or roguelite. And so you die. And then you come back, but you get to play through again. And you keep getting further and further. And you're getting better. And then you're leveling up your character too. And it just feels really, really nice. And the gameplay is very smooth. Just incredible animations, great boss fights, things like that. Really interesting decisions. Like when you level up, like when you get abilities, you have to pick between different abilities. And some combinations are super broken, and discovering those is a lot of fun. And then when you finally beat the game, it's a great feeling, like, yes. Because in order to beat the game, you have to clear all the levels of the game, and then you die to the final boss, you have to start over. And it takes like 45 minutes to get to the end, and then you die again. And so learning the final fight requires you playing through the entire game over and over again. And it's so frustrating. But when you finally beat it, you're like, yes. And it's a amazingly well-designed game from a number of perspectives. The other thing it does really well is the storytelling. You might be like, how is there storytelling in a game that's just like an action RPG where you die? Well, every time you die, it advances the storyline. So you dying actually doesn't feel bad, because every time you die, the story advances. And like, somebody will come up and talk to you, or it unlocks a new area that you can go into, or so as you play the game, you're actually advancing the story by dying. And so dying just feels like a natural part of the game. You're essentially the son of Hades, Zagreus. And so you just reappear in hell, basically. And, everyone's like, hey, you're back. Yeah. So if you're into action RPGs, Hades is still $25. That's amazing. It is a fantastic game and a masterclass in difficulty curve. All right, Siren. It's on your backlog. Yeah, if you don't see the appeal, like, neither did I. And that's not the kind of game I like to play. But even still, like, it is just it is a polished game. And like I said, even if you die, it's like, yeah, you're supposed to die. And so it kind of takes that sting away from the fact you have to start a run over. I got tired of it by the time I beat the game. And then I realized you have to beat the game like 15 times with increasing difficulty levels every time. And I was just like, I beat it like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. And I was just like, all right, I'm good. Like, I kind of want to know how the story ends, but at the same time, it's like, that's a lot of hours of my life, and I got other things to play. Yeah, I think beating it 15 times is excessive, and so I just didn't. There's a lot of weapons you unlock and things like that, and a lot of people play it to like get all the different weapon unlocks and things like that, and I was just like, I was counting how long it would take to like unlock everything, and it's like, 200 hours, 300 hours, and I'm like, nope, peace. Like, same 4 levels over and over again. It's just no. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just sounds very boring to me as well, and so I stopped playing it at that point. But it just that initial thing. It's good. So luck is something you need to really think about in your game. How much randomness is in your game? Is it completely deterministic? If it is, then people will figure out the optimal strategy and beat it. 860 games of people go, just Pikachu. That's funny. So people like a little bit of luck in the games. Like in Hades, like every time you play through the game, the dungeons are different, and then the power-ups you get are different also. You get an option of 3, but which 3 you get is out of a pool of like 50. And then you pick one of the 3, and then as you progress, you get random things, and you have to kind of like make do with making combos with what you have, and it makes the game interesting. And sometimes you just get poor rolls, and you just kind of suck, and that kind of sucks. But most of the time, there's something that you can work with, And so, in general, having a little bit of luck gives you variety, gives you variation, that makes it more fun. But in general, experienced players don't like luck. So, how many people here have played Smash Brothers? Oh, yeah. Ramirez, obviously, because you're making a Smash thing. Megan, Roberto, you only play Pikachu and Smash. We play a lot of board games. We hate luck-based board games, yeah. And that's something that Richard Garfield, who's the guy who made Magic the Gathering, he has a great talk that you can find on Game Design. And I play Bowser and set people on fire. So, in Smash, when you guys play competitively, do you turn items on or off? Why? Isn't that part of the game? Aren't items part of the game? Isn't that part of the vision of the game designer? To have items? Because it's skill, right? And so that's the thing. Like if you have items, then it lowers the effective skill in the game. Like a good Smash player can beat a bad Smash player like 100% of the time, especially if there's items off. But if there's items on, the bad player has a chance to win, right? And good players hate that. They hate losing to a bad player because the person got an Ultra Ball or something like that, right? It just annoys the hell out of them. So in tournaments for all serious gaming, like they disable items. But guess who likes items? Who do you think likes turning items on? Kids, casual players. Who else? People who like chaos. People who are trash, yeah. And the reason for that is because it gives them a chance to win, right? And nobody likes playing a game where you lose all the time. And so if you're going to have a situation where you've got good players and bad players together, adding in luck is actually a way that you can have, the bad people, they're still going to lose probably more often than not, but at least they got a shot at winning, And chaos is kind of fun sometimes. Like when you've got one person running around with a hammer and another person spraying fire everywhere, and somebody turns into a 400-foot tall monster and punches people. Like, and Pac-Man is making like fire hydrants or something. Like, it's kind of fun. I don't know. I actually kind of like items because I'm bad at the game. So, Mario Kart. The items you get from the boxes are random, but they're not random, right? If you're in the lead, you get trash items, right? You get a coin, or you get like a banana, right? Further back, you can get like green shells, then red shells, then triple red shells. And if you're in the very back, you can get like the communism bullet, so you hit the thing and it just flies you forward. You get the blue shell, to just shoot the person in the front, and yeah, and so like it's kind of frustrating, like when you're in the lead and you just get nailed by the blue shell or the communism bullet or something like that. It's just like there's very little you can do to play around it. Um, you want to person hit yourself with a blue shell. That's too funny. Like if you're really good, you can like negate a blue shell maybe if you get like a music box and time it just right, or you hang onto a star or something like that. But it's really hard, and so it's a game where there's luck, but it sort of also penalizes you for doing well and boosts people that are in the back, so that it tries to like push people together and kind of even out differences in skill at least a little bit. That said, good players at Mario Kart, win anyway, right? Although if you're pretty close on skill, like getting hit by a blue shell right at the end, everyone flies past you. You're like, yeah, the mushroom trick, proletarian bill. That's funny. If you get hit with a blue shell at the finish line, you rage quit. I know, right? You're like this far away, and then people fly past you. You're like, okay. So last little bit here. So some games are perfect information. Some games are hidden information. Some games are partial information. And so what that means is how aware of the game state are you? So in Mario Kart, can you see where everybody is on the world? Or Smash Brothers. Can you see where everybody is in Smash Brothers? Pretty much, right? Pretty much. Sometimes, like, maybe somebody vanishes off the screen for a second or something, but yeah, or the camera let somebody clip off the edge of the screen. Like, you knock somebody like, over there somewhere. In general, though, like, you've got pretty good information. In, like, Smash Brothers, in Mario Kart, you might not know what items AI have or something like that. But in general, you kind of see everything in the world, right? So it's kind of a perfect information game. We're pretty close to perfect information. Chess would be a perfect information game. You can see all of the pieces on the board. Connect Four, you can see all the pieces on the board. Tic Tac Toe. There's a lot of games where you just have total knowledge of the game state. Does this work for poker? Like, would poker be a game that worked if you could see everybody's cards? I mean, you can play it. You can bet money. But it would be a terrible game, right? And so it's not like perfect information's better and hidden information's better. It just really depends on the name. It's something you just need to think about when you're designing your game. So Texas Hold'em has partial information because the shared cards in the middle, everybody can see. And then the cards in your hand, nobody else can see except you. Other hidden information games would include like Werewolf or like some of these social deduction games. Secret Hitler. By the way, I played Secret Hitler on campus a couple weeks ago. There's a board game on. Did I tell you guys about this? There's a board game club on campus, and yeah, it was fun. We had like 3 or 4 professors show up and about a dozen students, and we played Secret Hitler, and so like I was playing with another professor. I'd never met him before, and he was Hitler at the end, and I was like working with him, and I didn't know that he was Hitler, and I was like, I was a liberal and he was Hitler, and we were like, yeah, we're buddies, and then at the end he's like, I'm Hitler. And I was like, what, and then like I was on a Zoom meeting with him, and I was going to be like with other people, and I was about to be like, hey, you were a great Hitler the other day, and I was like, oh no, I can't say that. I was like, good to see you again too, sir. Because we were all just hanging out, like, hey, what did you do over the weekend? That kind of stuff. And I was like, don't say anything. So, yeah, Chameleon's a good game. Yeah, so Secret Hitler, there's like 5 liberals and there's 3 fascists. One of the fascists is Hitler. And the liberals are trying to get liberal policies passed. The fascists are trying to get fascist policies passed. There's more liberals, so you'd think the liberals would win, but there's more fascist policies, and so it's got a very clever game design. And yeah, if you come to the next board game meeting, that's going to be in a couple weeks, I think. But yeah, board games are a great way of studying game design. The thing about video games is that we get so distracted by like animation and like the graphics and materials and like the level design, like that eats up all of our attention, right? But board games are just like Secret Hitler, like it's just like nothing to the game. It's like this little tracker that just tracks how many liberal and fascist policies have been passed, and there's a couple like little cards that tell you who you are. Like it's very basic game design, but it's good. So the next board game meeting is next Friday at 4 o'clock on campus. So I'll let you guys know about it on Discord, the location, everything. Most video games could be board games. I think so, yeah. And a lot of board games could become video games. But like I think board games are really interesting to study just from a game design perspective, because it really makes you think about like what works, what doesn't work in a video game. Things like perfect information, partial information. I've never played Shadowhunters. If you have it, bring it to the board game night. We're really good at caught up in flavor. Food Chain Magnet, I've heard about that. I've not played it. He won without producing any food and only hiring waitresses. that's hilarious. You on board game? 300 board games. Nice. That is awesome. That is amazing. Game nights every week. Yeah, my wife and I do a board game night once a month with her friends, and then there's the board game club on campus, and then I go to Gen Con and I bring an 18-player version of Civ to Gen Con and have an all day long Civ game at Gen Con, which pays for my Gen Con, and I do it on my birthday too, or I get like all my friends together and we play these giant board games and things like that. That's really funny though. Like you reject his strategy just because it's not in the theme for the board game. That's hilarious. Yeah. So and then there's Fog of War, which is like partially hidden information. So like if you're playing like an RTS, like the map's black originally, and then like as you explore it, like you know you can put outposts and kind of like learn information. Like a lot of games boil down to like. This thing is just not responding. I don't know what's going on with PowerPoint today. Yeah, well, we're basically out of time, so we'll pick this up on Thursday. But yeah, think about the games you like, you know, and think about like what makes you like them. And your assignment for Thursday is just come up with a little elevator pitch in like 5 minutes or less. Explain to me what your game is, what makes it cool, and then answer some of those questions like how much luck is involved, how much. Just answer some of those questions. Okay. Best Cherry MX. I use Cherry MX Browns, but I mean it's kind of a personal preference. I don't know if you can hear me typing, but they're kind of clicky, but they're not the loudest. I kind of picked them because they're actually not as loud as others. So yeah, yeah. If you guys have never played board games, like if you're serious about making games, I would say you should almost like go out there and like just play board games, just to learn like how good game design works. Like in all seriousness, like if you want to be a good video game designer, I would say you have to like play some board games and really think about it like academically. Like, why is this game fun? Like, what could be done better? Like, why did they make this decision? And that will make you better at designing video games, because like I said, with video games we get so distracted by all this like 3D explosions and sounds and and fog and stuff like that it distracts us from the core gameplay, which should be fun. like your core gameplay loop should be fun, and that's something that you really need to like think about. Like, so if you're going to be doing like a Skyrim meets Pokemon, like what, like how is that going to work? Like when you spawn in, are you going to fight like some mega evolution and it smashes you at the front? No, you're probably going to put weak Pokemon near the starting area, and then you need to make sure there's different types so that you can collect Pokemon of one type to fight Pokemon of an opposing type, and you need to sit there and like lay out everything in a way that makes sense and is fun and allows people to explore in different directions. Oh, that place looks interesting. Let me go over there. You know, it has maybe some luck, maybe a little bit. I don't know. That has a difficulty curve that kind of ramps up as you get further away from the starting area. Like there's some big old like Gyarados there or something, maybe I can't go that way just yet, and I need to get Raichu or something to zap Gyarados. And so like being able to think about games in a very thoughtful and analytical fashion is what's going to allow you to make games that stand apart from like all of the shovelware, all the trash games where people just like put assets in and just things happen and it's all chaos and garbage. Right? When you have good game design, like people can feel it, and they're like, oh, this is interesting. Like I can go around, I need to go there, but that's an ice area, and I don't have anything that can defeat ice. And oh, but look, the game designer, he left something here where like I can get, Pokemon that can defeat the ice Pokemon, and oh, but I can't bring my dragon because and so it's something that I think doesn't get emphasized enough in video game classes, but yeah. Like having that really intellectual, that academic study of like what makes a game fun is really important. Okay, so I've talked enough. Hope you guys had fun today. We're probably going to talk more about it on Thursday. So if you have any games that you want to talk about and we can analyze them and stuff like that, send a message to me on Discord. And if you love League of Legends or something, then we can break down League of Legends by these different elements of game design and talk about them on Thursday. Okay. So in the meantime, just a game pitch. That's all that's due by Thursday. And if you've fallen behind on your assignments, get caught up. I'm going to not accept things too much later once they're too late. I don't know. Okay. Can you upload the Unreal Importing Models thing? Sure. We'll do. Okay. Thanks, everyone. And I will see you guys next time.